there's a certain, when you get right to the top level of something, there's a certain kindness, I think, that they're no searching for this other thing, uncertain if they're ever going to get it, and all the anxiety that goes with that. They're there, and they can sort of like, I don't know, just kind of be a bit kind-hearted to the other wee bams like us that was coming through. You know what I mean? And that for me was like because you hear the echoes, you hear that now, the delay and the thing. There's something quite magical about that. You know what I mean? When you're stuck outside, it's like I was talking to somebody about this the other week, and they were talking about the U2 gig, and it was like one in somewhere that I was standing outside the hall. I'd no money for a ticket, couldn't get in all that, and he was like, he was there at the gig and he worked at the gig, and he's like, I could have got you into the gig and all that, and I had to say to him, no, it was important that I was standing in the hall, and it was important that I couldn't see the band. It was important that I had to imagine what the band looked like, what the band, what it was like being at the gig with the lights and everything else, and being in amongst the crowd. You need to be stuck outside in the freezing cold. You know what I mean? It's good. I think it's quite it's not good at the time, but it is quite a healthy thing. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. It's like it's like, I don't know, just something really, the way you would imagine it to be. It's just, especially the gig that was the festival that was like outdoors, just out in the fresh air and just all the people and all that. It's just, and when I looked at it, I don't know if it's because I've not been to gigs in a while. I wouldn't assume it was just happy seeing us, but I think they were just happy to be at a gig. But when I looked at it, I actually don't really normally notice that many individual faces. And when I looked at it, but I did see there was pure joy on everybody's face. There's like all these like big smiles going all the way through and I think that I, it was just because it is a different thing. It's like, must be the same with football, where it's like, when we practice with a band, there's something special you can feel. There's something that happens, but it's like the same with football. You know, when the crowd's there, it's sort of it sort of like shines a torch onto the band's songs, lights them up in a way.
Mhm.
The songs are there, but they're no, and I don't know, it's something that is in a lot of ways, what is a song with the audience, really. You think about a lot of like great songs and stuff, and in time, it's the people listening to the songs that have made the song legendary. You know what I mean? Um, so, you know what I mean? It's the tree without the apple, innit? Without
Mm.
the crowd, you know. But aye, she has that. I know that she I've said it to her before, and I know that she disagrees, kind of thing. But nobody would be aware that their band exists without Denise. Um, and I think that I don't even know if it goes along with Denise's personality, but I think Denise has done the same thing as what I've done with the songs, where without really like that much that something's going to work, or that much, like it, like logic. She's sort of just in some way just, she was working with Geraldine as a social worker, and and that's how I met Geraldine. It was through Denise, because she worked together. They worked together, and then Denise went part time with the social work so that she could manage the band, but then she'd no money to pay for her rent. So we were in the same wee room, kind of thing. She was on the couch and all that, and then getting up, going to a walk, and then she'd more time but for the band.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But that she's like, and she's probably like 28, at that point. To go part time with the thing that you've went to study, that you've graduated through, and then to say, I'm actually just going to go part time so that I can manage my brother's band. It's just like, and nobody knew us at the time. My ma, Rab's ma, Denise, Geraldine, do you know what I mean? Nobody knew us or anything like that. And then I know for a fact that you could say, well, if you didn't have this and you didn't have that, then it still wouldn't work. But I'm saying if you had everything we had, but you took Denise out of the equation, then nobody would know who the band are, you know. And I'd still be the mad guy in the house singing songs in a Glaswegian accent, and then other people probably wouldn't have copied me either because I wouldn't have been well known. Maybe it is. I guess I would never. I would think that probably it probably would be if you were to look at it like, for the Glaswegian accent to be in music, in like rock and roll or bands or but like commercial music, then I guess since the beginning of popular music there never was one. So I guess if you go to like when we came out, then there was one, and then the chances of that then being a few years after it, other people, and that had been nothing to do with us, I guess the chances of that are quite slim. But I guess sometimes with influences and stuff like that, sometimes I guess there's probably things I'm influenced by and I'm not even that aware of it. You know what I mean? And I guess when it really comes down to it, I'm just lucky that I found something that felt right for me to do. I'm really so lucky that anybody else would actually want to give any of their time to any of the songs that I've wrote, give their time to any of the band. You know what I mean? It makes me the luckiest guy in the world. So I guess even influencing other people or no, it's all right either way. You know what I mean? It's and if we have anything like that, it's wonderful. You know what I mean? Things have influenced me as well. You know what I mean? A lot of things. A lot of things. I mean, I owe a lot back to the things that I've been influenced by. It's a big ocean of greatness out there, and I'm just like, I've only got these wee tiny dots of water that I can put into that. I've not got much, but what I've got, then I kind of, the way I'd approach like making music and art and all that, it's just I just do it my way. You know what I mean? And I do it so that, because that's what that ocean that I've took all the buckets of water out of that ocean. Do you know what I mean? And so the least I can do is just do it right. You know what I mean? Um, in the past, you've kind of got time. It just depends whether you can, you know what I mean, make it to wherever the bands are playing. Sometimes it's quite a big festival, but what I saw, there was a couple of bands where I never actually saw them. Like I heard the music and I didn't really know who it was, but I quite liked it. Um, but I saw a few songs Supergrass, um, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Like I remember me and Rab went to see Supergrass way back in the Barrowlands. Um, it was one of the first gigs we ever went to, I think. And I just remember after the gig trying to get across the road at the Barrowlands, and we were all that drunk. It was just, like the hedgehog crossing the road, trying. It was a bit like that, but aye. So it was the sounded brilliant though, and it was good. But normally, and I think maybe this will be a thing though because it's been taken away from us. You know what I mean? The chance of going to festivals and playing. Maybe that's the wee things that you'd appreciate a bit more now. You know what I mean? Because it's not really that normal for us all to be standing and watching a band. I can't think of that many times that we have. You know what I mean? I really just, but looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Just it's just like I think even before when we had a few gigs that were quite quite spread out and stuff like that. So I'm just like a bit surprised. Oh, we've got another one today. You know what I mean? And it's quite a good kind of a good feeling because I think when you're getting back into it as well, it's like there's a few daft things that you kind of don't plug something in right to something, or you've not really thought something. So then, if you've not got a gig after it, then you want to kind of have a few so that you can sort of get into the swing of it. You know what I mean? So I can't wait, and I mean everybody knows, you know what I mean, Scottish audiences. That's like everybody knows how amazing they are, whether it's football, music, whatever. I'm not really sure. I'm not really. I wish I was one of the prophets that could see, you know what I mean, see the future and all that, and just like But no, I'm not really too sure how people would, because I guess when you're talking about music magazines, you're talking about like maybe at the beginning being quite a tool, a vehicle that people can sell whatever to an artist and bands new record and that, and then I think it moves into probably a period where it was the fans like that are really that have been maybe influenced by that have loved music for the mid 50s to the early 60s. They love it, and then they kind of go and follow the road and they want to be writers, and it becomes a way for people to communicate on new art, new music coming out, and it's through passion kind of thing. And I think that's flowed on through the punk scene in the 70s and all that. And so I guess the enthusiasm that somebody's got for like saying this is what I love, this is how I feel, this is what this art makes me feel, and I need to communicate that with you, with other people. And that's not going to go away. So I don't know what kind of medium or platform that people would use and how they would do it. Who knows? I think after the internet happens, it does make me think. Well, it's kind of all bets are off. You know what I mean? It's like what if there's another internet? You know what I mean? That nobody's actually thought up yet. You know what I mean? Another 10 year. Because I think before the internet, you don't really think of that possibility of that much change, like instantly. But after that, you just there's just the possibilities are so much broader. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't even begin to actually think people would how people would be interacting through music and art and all that in the future. I'm not sure. And it's probably still something that people are getting to grips with as to how the best ways to go about things are. And I don't think just with music. I think just on in general, it's been quite a hard vehicle for the species to like handle.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, in a lot of things, it's quite fucked up about this technology. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of kind of beautiful things as well, and I think we're still probably just actually getting to grips with it, how massive the change is. You know what I mean? Aye, there's always going to be a lot. There was actually somebody who I heard on the radio the other day, and her name is. I mean, I never ever do this. Um, like listen out for the name at the end of it. There's something quite strange about it. And I think I tried to check. I tried to check it out on Spotify, just listen to the songs and that. And I think there was only a couple of songs. Her name was it Jennifer something? I think Jennifer. I'll check my phone in a wee minute. It'll still be on my phone, but I think it was maybe a live session on the radio, and it kind of sounded a bit different for what it was different songs for that was the two songs on Spotify, but the one that I heard on the radio, I thought it reminded me of a female version of one of my pals, who's one of the best songwriters I've ever known. A guy that's from Glasgow. So I guess I should mention him because it's a guy that's magical talent, you know what I mean, called Jonny Skinner, who's I think
Right.
he's playing Friday as well, actually.